So this is like the 9th or 10th time I've tried recording this now. I've rewritten this script several times over, and yeah. Titan Souls is the best game you're not playing. Titan Souls is a very, very, very good game. Extremely underrated and kind of forgotten in time. And something I wanted to do with this channel is bring back games that people forget constantly. Just because there's no new games coming out right now doesn't mean the old games are any less good because of that. Because there's newer games coming out. You should always look back to the older games and find inspiration in them. And, you know, enjoy what they have to offer. Titan Souls, action-adventure game where you play as a hero fighting against 19 different Titan bosses, where you are equipped with only your bow and a magical arrow that you can shoot out. Only one arrow. You have 1 HP, so any damage you take at all kills you instantly. And no, this isn't one of those games where you have like thousands of mobs and ads to deal with, although some bosses can be like that. It's more akin to like if bullet hells were a thing in Dark Souls. And it's kind of neat how they went about doing this. So even though most people, including the wiki for this game, will consider it just as an action-adventure game, I think of it as a minor bullet hell and a boss rush game as well. A boss rush game. I'm not going to say that word anymore. I suck at it. Anyways, so let's get into the bit of the origins, and then I'll explain why it's so good. So Titan Souls was released back in 2015 by an indie developer known as Acid Nerve Studios. The game was cited to have taken heavy inspirations from games like Shadow of the Colossus, early Zelda games from the NES and Super Nintendo, and of course Dark Souls, as evident by the title. But it wasn't always known as Titan Souls. It was originally known as Claw, and was released and made for the London Dare Game Jam back in 2013, and it was really, really cool. The game ended up going home with only 3 bosses in the game at the time. It went home with taking first place in overall jam, meaning it was the best of the games that came out for that particular game jam. Jesus. Can my words happen? It came out in first place for overall jam at the London Dare Game Jam, as well as taking back home first place with audio and mood setting. So clearly this game is very good at setting the mood and atmosphere for what it's trying to convey, and it does it really well. I can attest to this. I get lost in its world sometimes, and it's really, really amazing for a game with such very simplistic graphics to pull this off. Usually it takes games with heavy amounts of immersion, high fidelity graphics to do this, thinking of games like Elden Ring, modded Skyrim, Kingdom Come's Deliverance. Like, games like those take a lot of heavy graphics to really immerse you into its world, and this game is able to do this purely with just the design, colors, mood setting it's able to do, and especially its audio. Honest to God, I think its audio is like one of the best things for this game. But anyways, the origins of this game is that very simple. Made by 3 dudes, these 3 goats over here. They created this game together for the Game Jam, and then after the Game Jam was over, and they clearly saw that this game was really good and people wanted to play more of it, they went from 3 bosses to 19 bosses, revising the graphics, improving the performance of the game, and of course adding a whole new audio system to it, moving it from the Adobe Flash engine to its own engine that they created themselves, and of course a new and improved soundtrack for all the new bosses and stuff they've added. The game was then made for PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4, PC, Android, and it sold amazingly. And it's really weird because, like, as someone who played on those types of consoles, I was a huge PlayStation fan growing up, and having a PC and Android to this very day still, I'm surprised I never heard of this game until recently. It's a Souls game, like, in all sense of the word. The game doesn't have NPCs in it that tell you its story and such. Instead, you're just looking around the world, embracing its environments, taking in the atmosphere that it sets upon you and tells you to go out and explore throughout it. claiming those souls of the various titans that you've defeated through not just pure skill but wit. Not every boss is dealt with by just having great mechanical skills. Clearly, you have to have some level of intelligence to it, which is why I struggle so goddamn much. Stop! No! But the game is also very endearing in how it presents itself. It wears its inspirations on its shoulder, and it's very good at showing the best qualities of those inspirations in it, even though it's a very limited looking game. So speaking of which, let's talk about, those inspirations. Now, Shadow of Colossus inspiration is pretty easy to see. Both the games have massive bosses, they have quite a few of them, and both of them revolve around beating all the bosses to unlock the mystery of the world, as playing as the lone hero in it. So clearly, these bosses, the whole inspiration of Shadow of Colossus is pretty evident to see. How the other two games are inspired into this game is actually pretty neat, because even though the core concept and premise of the game is very similar to Shadow of Colossus, the presentation is completely different. Shadow of Colossus is a very gloomy and dark world that's massive and sprawling, but also very much dangerous, and it shows that to you. Whereas this game, with its Zelda inspiration, it draws from Zelda in a more beautiful sense. It gives you that breathtaking scope and scenery that Breath of the Wild and and the more really early dungeon games, Zelda games have, where you can see the entire world in front of you. Each location presents itself with different atmospheres and music and sceneries that are just, they're just so good, okay? I cannot explain it any more than that. They're just really, really good, and you just have to trust me on this, even though this is a very subjective term of talk right here. To me, I can see the beauty in this, and someone else would be like, wow, this game looks like crap. So, take it as you see it. I wouldn't be saying this game couldn't benefit from being in a 3D plane, because it could definitely benefit from it. But I think the fact that it's 2D doesn't take away from it, and I think that it's I think they did a good job taking from the inspiration of Zelda in terms of how they designed the world and the beauty of it. That is almost very eerily representative of the Zelda games. There's a straight up spot in the game that looks that literally behaves exactly like Lost Woods, and it's amazing. And then finally we have the Dark Souls inspiration. And Dark Souls in this game really only share one thing in common, if you really want to grind it down to a bare bones at first glance. It only looks like it shares one thing in common, and that's just dodge rolls. Both games, the characters can dodge to avoid taking damage. That's basically it. But although at first glance that's what it is, there's other things that happen in it that makes you realize this is a very Souls-like game, and why it deserves to be considered part of the Souls-like games when brought up in a list of Souls-likes. I saw games whenever you think of a Souls-like game, you think of Jedi Fallen Order, you think of, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Code Vein, Bloodborne, the Neo franchise. These are obvious games that you can think about as Souls-like games, but this game never comes up in those conversations, and I think that's really insulting, because this game does what those other games try to do, but even better. It's a Souls-like game because there's attack commitment in it, and there's dodge rolls, and they're both in a 3D third-person plane area, and there's RPG stats stuff going on in there. And yeah, that is what Dark Souls is, but Dark Souls also has other components to it that makes it a Souls-like environmental storytelling, setting an atmosphere, challenging and really high difficulties to the game. This game is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. I died so many times getting the footage for this game right now that it's insane. Just for this video, and these are only the first 4 bosses. I sat there, I think I have 30 something deaths, and this is only a fifth of the bosses completed in the game right now. You're gonna die a lot. and Dark Souls and that game shares a very similar aspect to it. But one of the main things that people always overlook is the environmental storytelling. Dark Souls tells its story, yeah, through NPCs. You get the general gist of what the core story is through, you know, the opening sequence of the game and just talking to like the Emerald Herald or like, you know, I don't really remember the other one's name, but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean? Like, the Dark Souls story is really rich. Jesus Christ. The Dark Souls game has really rich amounts of lore in it. And Titan Souls, although it does not have any items to read the description off of, the fact that it can convey such a story similarly to Dark Souls in that way without needing a bunch of item descriptions to convey its lore is kind of amazing. I think at the end of the day, what we should learn from games like Titan Souls is that whether it's 2D or 3D, or whether or not it seems like it could be a potential ripoff of another game, that we shouldn't really jump so hastily to assuming that these games are inherently going to be bad. Because many things that are inspired from other works can sometimes become one of the greatest things of their own. Anyways, just as a little side thing for you guys, here's some of the clips that I thought were pretty funny from the footage above that you guys have been like watching in the background, or it's just been playing in the background, whatever. And hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys like the video. And yeah, something new I've been trying, so hopefully I get better at this in the future. But bear with me till then. And thank you for watching. Are you a box? Ah! Why is he so fast? Oh! I gotta shoot him in his little butthole. Shoots the laser beams before he shoots the laser beams. That's how I win. You don't need to roll this way. Why does it move so fast for a box? Like, what the No! He jumps! A square that shoots lasers and a fucking ice cube. Oh! Fuck! Give me fire! Stop! No! I had it! He just wanted to... Oh! Okay. I almost lost my shit. Okay. Oh! It's a battle of a very frosty DVD. No! Oh, what? Yes! Suck my dick, loser! Yes! Oh, yeah, fucker. Up these big old stairs. Oh, is that a waterfall? That's so pretty. Oh, they're swimming? I don't know how I killed this thing. Honest to God. Okay, so I can get fucking high on acid, apparently. What the fuck? I think it's safe to assume my mental stability is no longer at an okay state because of this game.